Hi everyone, it's your team director, Miss Kiara here. Just wanted to say hello and I hope everyone's doing well during these quarantine times. I have a video coming up right now about photo editing and learning how to use some free photo editing software, so hopefully y'all can have some fun with that and learn how to do a couple things while you're home. Hi there, boys and girls. This is Miss Kiara, the teen director from Miller Freedom Center Boys and Girls Club. Today we're going to be learning how to use Gimp, a free photo manipulation software. It's just like Photoshop, but it's free and it's a little bit easier to use. So I'm going to show you all how to do some basic photo editing and graphic design, stuff like that. So we're going to start by opening up Gimp, and I will have a link to the download in the description or somewhere on the screen at some point. And we're going to start by kind of discovering where everything is. So over here in this upper left-hand section is your toolbox. This is where you get all your fun stuff like your paintbrush or your path tool, lasso select, color dropper tool. But you'll see whenever you click on a tool, down here is going to change because this is for your tool settings. So let's say I wanted to use a paintbrush. I could make my paintbrush bigger down here or make it softer so that the edge is more frayed, for example. Just going to go ahead and create a new file. So we're going to go to new, and you'll see that there are so many templates already built into the system. So you could do something, if you wanted to make like a small poster, you could make something letter sized. Or if you want to design some toilet paper, you could do that, or a CD cover. It's really up to you. You also have phone backgrounds, computer backgrounds. So if you're looking for a little project and you would like to make a phone background, that's probably a great thing to do right now if you have some free time. So I'm just going to pick something small. I'm going to go with a US business card. And I'm going to show you all some examples of what the paintbrush tool can do. So this is just a random brush. We have all sorts of brush presets over here. And you can change them. You even have a random bell pepper brush besides the brush tool. What we're going to be using today is mostly going to be the text tool, the color dropper, the move tool, probably the brush tool, and a couple of other things. But I'm going to start by really quick just designing a little business card, and then hopefully y'all can take something from that and have a little bit of fun with it. But I'm going to start by opening up a photo. So over here you have layers. So right now I have a background layer, but if I wanted to go up here and create a new layer, I could create a new layer. Let's call this layer 1. It's important to label your layers so that you can keep track of them. And you can also color code them. So let's say layer 1, I make it red just so I can tell it apart. And then that'll be right here. So let's say I go back to my paintbrush tool and I want to put a giant bell pepper on layer 1. You'll see if I press the little eye tool, I can make layer 1 disappear so that I don't see that. But I can also do that to the background, and I can also lock layer 1. I'm going to go ahead and delete layer. So I can come down here to delete layer 1. I'm going to go to my background, and I'm just going to open up a file, a photographic file, as a layer so that I can edit it. And I'm going to design a little business card. I'm going to open up a business. Sometimes you'll get this little pop-up when you want to open a photo from somewhere else, and that's okay. You can just click convert, and it'll make it manageable with the program. So as you see, I have a photo here of the beautiful BTS. And it's too big for my canvas. So what I'm going to do, and you'll see that the photo itself actually goes all the way out to here. So, and to zoom and zoom out and in, you can just press the minus button or the shift plus button to go in, or just the minus button to come out. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click this image, go to layer, I'm going to go to scale layer so I can bring this down a little bit. And you can see that the width and the height are locked to each other right here. So if you click that, it'll unlock them, and that's going to change the shape of your photo. So it's going to distort it a little bit because if you don't have these connected to each other, then they're going to change at different rates. The height and the width are going to change at different rates. But it's okay. I'm going to reset that and make sure that it's locked so that they're in a similar place. And then I'm going to make this quite a bit smaller so that it'll fit on my screen, and that's actually perfect for what I want to do. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my move tool, and I'm going to move this all the way down to the bottom corner. Like I said, I'm creating a little business card, so I want to have space for my text. I also just downloaded this photo from the internet, so I actually need to get rid of that little Hollywood Reporter sign right there. And as long as you're not selling images, you don't have to worry about using them for copyright. Like, as long as you're not selling them or using them for anything to make money, copyright won't come into play. I'm just going to grab my brush tool and I'm going to color over that. Oh no, it's still black. No worries. We have the color picker tool. You can see down here in settings, you can choose, if there were a bunch of colors, you could be like, oh, I wanted to sample the average color. So if it was between white and yellow, it'd be like a lighter yellow, you know, between the two colors. But we don't have to worry about that because this is just one photo layer. So I'm going to make sure I have my BTS layer selected, and I'm going to select that color, come back in with my paintbrush tool, and I'm going to get that brush, and I'm going to actually bring the hardness down a little bit so that the edges aren't so hard, because you can see, and we'll test on the background, the harder your edges are, the more kind of defined your brush is. So if I bring that hardness down to, let's say, like, let's bring it all the way down to 15. You'll see like there's a lot less hard of an edge on that brush, which is what we want. So I'm going to get rid of that, but I'm going to bring my brush hardness back up to 100 so that I can color over this. Oop, wrong layer. Yep, you want to make sure that you always have your proper layer selected. That's going to be a big theme in this. Alright, so I covered up that little logo, but my background is still white. Instead of just making the brush bigger and trying to color all of it, which is something that you absolutely can do, I'm going to come over here to my paint bucket tool. So this tool will actually, as long as I have the right layer selected, will actually fill that whole layer with whatever color I want. And now you will notice that there's a little bit of a color difference right here, so I'm just going to go ahead and select my BTS layer and fill that in too, just to keep things consistent. And now, voila, I have basically a whole, except for this little section right here, just going to color over that. All right, now everything's the same color. A nice flat background, a wonderful picture of a boy band. And this is, so far, a great business card. It tells people what I do, which is listen to BTS for a living. It doesn't tell them who I am. So to do that, I need a text layer. I come over here to my text tool. And down here, as always, you have your settings. But when you click on your canvas, the settings are also going to pop up here, which is really nice. But if you want to change your font, it's best to do it down here before you even get started. For some reason, it always starts at 62, which is fine, but I think I'm going to go a little bit smaller. And you can go ahead and start typing. Oh, excuse me. You want to make sure you have your layer selected, then you can go ahead and start typing. But as you see, my text color is the same color as my background, so you can't see my words. But you can just click on that little square that I just clicked on right here. Just click on that. And you can mess with the colors down here and kind of change them and make them operate however you want, whatever color you want. You have a lot of different things you can do. And if you don't like this one, you can also choose a different type of color wheel. You have different canvas options where you can change things up and really make them, or like kind of define the colors the way you want to. You can even use a sliding scale. It's up to you. I prefer this one just because I love being able to drag it and kind of view all the colors as they change. But I also love this tool right here, which is just like another eyedropper tool. And it's always better to pick a color from the composition to use elsewhere, because then it helps make your eye kind of travel around the canvas or your photo or whatever you're using. So I'm going to come back here and make the font smaller again, and then I'm going to make sure I have my layer selected. And automatically over here, the second I typed, it created a new layer for the text, which is great. But I actually want to make sure that that layer is above the BTS layer so that it's always on top. Because whichever layer is on top is going to be the one that is most visible. So if I put that behind the BTS layer, then it wouldn't show up. So go ahead and coming back over here, and I'm just going to keep typing. Now this might be a little big, Yeah, so I'll go ahead and select all of this, and I'll make the font a little bit smaller again. Not too small, but I do want to be able to fit more text on here. And if I wanted to underline it or have it crossed out or italicize it, this would be the way to do that. But I think I'm just going to leave that plain, and I'm going to come over to my move tool, and I'm going to move that up here. And then I'm just going to do the same thing one more time. I'm going to actually make this a little bit smaller, maybe like 45 or something, just so that there's a hierarchy. So when you're creating a document, you want to have the most important thing as the biggest, or the first to be read, and then you want to have everything else kind of fall underneath it. So in this case, I need people to know who I am. I need them to know my name. I'm also going to choose another color from the composition to kind of just keep things consistent. And then I'm going to start typing my position. And I'm going to move that. And then I'm going to move this, and then that can go right there. So that's the basics of photo editing in Gimp. And for our next tutorial, we'll do some different things. We'll experiment with the brushes more. We'll play around. We might even add some more bell peppers in here. So I kind of love these. You can just add them everywhere. But that has been it for this tutorial. Thank y'all so much for coming to learn with me.